The space around the Nilarian colony ship turned bright orange as another explosion rocked its hull. Inside the ship's nursery section, caretaker My Son held 3 trembling children close to her. Their small bodies glowed with fear, their natural bioluminescence pulsing in rapid patterns of blue and white. The colors of pure terror in their species. Everyone to the escape pods. The ship's speakers crackled with the captain's voice. Pirates have breached the main hull. This is not a drill. My Son looked down at the 3 children in her care. Ryan, the curious one who always asked questions about the stars. Tai Yang, the protective older brother figure who helped the younger ones with their lessons. And little He Newell, barely 6 cycles old, who still needed help managing their bioluminescent responses during sleep time. She knew she had to get them to safety. The nursery section had 2 escape pods, but they were meant for emergencies just like this. My Son grabbed the emergency pack from the wall. It contained food, water, and basic medical supplies. The children followed her without question, their small feet making soft padding sounds on the metal floor. "Remember your emergency training," My Son said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Hold hands in a chain, just like we practiced." The children linked their 4-fingered hands together. Their skin flickered with patches of green, the color of trying to be brave. My Son felt proud of them, even in this terrible moment. She had raised them since they were barely more than hatchlings, after their birth parents had been lost in a terraforming accident. Another explosion shook the ship. This one was closer. Through the nursery's window, My Son could see the attacking ships. They were ugly things, cobbled together from stolen parts, bearing the mark of the Star Reavers, the most feared pirate group in this sector of space. "Quick now," My Son said, leading the children to the escape pod entrance. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, there were 4 seats with safety harnesses. My Son helped each child into their seat, checking the harnesses twice. Their safety was all that mattered now. But just as My Son turned to close the pod's door, a massive blast ripped through the nursery section. The force threw her backwards, away from the pod. She hit the far wall hard. Through blurry eyes, she saw the emergency bulkhead beginning to close between her and the children. "My Son," Tai Yang called out, trying to undo his harness. "Come back." "No," My Son shouted. "Stay in your seats. The pod will keep you safe." She pulled herself up, ignoring the pain in her side. "Ryan, you know how to start the launch sequence. Remember the lessons." Ryan's skin pulsed with purple, the color of determination mixed with fear. The child reached for the control panel, their small fingers moving over the buttons just as they had practiced in their safety drills. The bulkhead was almost closed now. My Son could only see a small gap remaining. "I love you, my little stars," she said, her voice breaking. "Be brave. Be kind to each other." The last thing she saw before the bulkhead sealed was their skin glowing with the deep gold of love and loss, the same color they had shown when they learned about their birth parents. Inside the pod, Ryan finished the launch sequence. Their hands shook, but they remembered every step. The pod's engines hummed to life. He Newell was crying softly, their skin flickering between fear blue and sorrow gray. "It's okay," Tai Yang said, reaching across to hold He Newell's hand. "My Son said we'll be safe in the pod. We just have to wait for help to come." The pod detached from the ship with a sharp jolt. Through its small window, the children could see their home, the colony ship where they had spent their whole lives, burning against the backdrop of space. Pieces of the ship broke apart, scattering into the darkness like falling stars. Ryan activated the pod's distress beacon, just as they had been taught. "The beacon will tell other ships we're here," they explained to the others, trying to sound confident like My Son always did. "Good ships will come to help us." But as the hours passed, the children began to worry. Their pod's power was getting lower. The emergency lights had switched to their dim setting to save energy. The space around them was empty except for pieces of their destroyed ship. They took turns sleeping, though none of them could sleep for long. They shared the emergency rations, careful to make them last. Tai Yang insisted on taking smaller portions so the younger ones could have more. Their skin colors had settled into a steady pulse of dim blue, the color of quiet fear. They had been taught about humans in their lessons. Humans were strange creatures who couldn't change their skin color, who had too many fingers, who came from a planet with far too much gravity. The lesson said humans were dangerous, unpredictable warriors who had spread across the galaxy faster than any other species. What if humans find us? Hainul asked in a small voice. Teacher Jinho said humans fight all the time. Maybe no one will find us, Ryan said, but they knew that wasn't true. Their pod's air wouldn't last forever. Someone would find them eventually. Tai Yang looked out the pod's window. My son also said not everything in our lessons was right. Remember when we learned that space jellies were mindless creatures? But then my son showed us how they danced to communicate. The memory made them all glow briefly with warm yellow, the color of happy remembrance. But the color quickly faded back to fearful blue as a new sound reached them, the pod's proximity alarm. A ship was approaching. It was much bigger than their pod, with smooth white sides and strange markings. The children pressed close together as the ship grew larger in their window. They could make out the writing on its side now, in the angular human script they had learned to recognize. Earth's Grace. It's a human ship, Ryan whispered. Their skin was almost white with terror now, matching the others. What do we do? Tai Yang tried to remember everything they had learned about humans. If they're going to hurt us, maybe they'll be quick about it if we don't fight. Hainul began to cry again, their skin flickering wildly between fear blue and despair black. Ryan held them close, humming an old Nilarian comfort song that my son used to sing. The human ship was very close now. They could feel a strange pulling sensation. The ship was using its tractor beam to bring their pod aboard. The children huddled together in the back of the pod, their hands linked in their family chain. Through the pod's window, they could see they were being pulled into a brightly lit bay inside the human ship. The pod settled onto the base floor with a gentle thud. Outside, they could hear mechanical sounds and voices speaking in a harsh human language. Remember what my son said, Tai Yang whispered to the others. Be brave. Be kind to each other. Their joined hands glowed with deep gold for a moment. Love and loss, together. The pod's external sensors told them the bay had been pressurized. Soon, the humans would open their pod. The children pressed closer together, their skin pulsing in perfect unison. Fear blue, terror white. Fear blue, terror white. A sound came from the pod's door. The humans were about to open it. Little Hainul spoke in a trembling voice, saying what they were all thinking. Please make it quick. The pod's door began to open, letting in the bright light of the human ship. The children closed their eyes, their skin glowing with one final bright pulse of terror white. They held on to each other and waited for whatever would come next. But what came next would change everything they thought they knew about humans. They just didn't know it yet. In that moment, frozen in fear and holding each other, the children were about to learn that sometimes the universe's greatest gifts come disguised as its greatest fears. And on the other side of that pod door, a human doctor named Dugyan Park was about to teach 3 terrified alien children that mercy was the strongest force in any galaxy. The first part of their story was ending. But their real story, the one that would be told and retold across 2 civilizations, was about to begin. Chief Medical Officer Do-hyun Park stood in the airlock chamber of Earth's Grace, watching as the rescue team finished pressurizing the bay. Through the thick glass, he could see the Nilarian escape pod. Its hull was scorched from passing through the debris field, but the pod's core systems were still functioning. The medical scanner in his hand showed 3 life signs inside, all of them children, based on their bio readings. Dr. Park, the ship's AI spoke through his earpiece. The children's vital signs show extreme stress. Their hormone levels are consistent with severe fear responses. Do-hyun nodded. He had studied Nilarian physiology during his skenomedicine training. Their bioluminescent skin wasn't just for show. It was a complex organ that displayed their emotional and physical state. Through the pod's window, he could see flashes of bright white light. Pure terror. All security personnel, stay back, Do-hyun said into his comm. No weapons in the bay. These are children, not threats. He turned to his medical assistant, Yeonji. Bring the universal translator and the emergency medical kit. Move slowly when we go in. The airlock door opened with a soft hiss. Do-hyun walked toward the pod, his footsteps echoing in the quiet bay. The rescue team had already checked the pod for dangers, standard procedure when bringing unknown vessels aboard. But Do-hyun wasn't worried about dangers. He was worried about the 3 terrified children inside. He reached the pod's door and placed his hand on the external control panel. The door's mechanism was simple enough, a standard emergency release. Before opening it, he spoke clearly, knowing the pod's sensors would carry his voice inside. "Hello," he said, letting the universal translator convert his words to the musical language of the Nilarians. "I'm a doctor. We received your distress signal. We're here to help you." Through the pod's window, he saw the children's glow pattern shift slightly, still mostly fear-white. But now with touches of confusion purple. They were listening. "I'm going to open the door now," Do-hyun continued. "You're safe here. No one will hurt you." He pressed the release button. The pod's door opened slowly, letting out a breath of stale air. The light from the bay illuminated the inside of the pod, and Do-hyun's heart ached at what he saw. 3 Nilarian children were huddled together at the back of the pod. Their scaled skin rippled with waves of white and blue light. Fear colors. They held hands in the traditional Nilarian family chain, their 4-fingered hands locked together. The oldest one, probably around 12 Earth years, had positioned themselves in front of the younger 2. Do-hyun recognized their emergency harnesses. They were still half-buckled, as if the children had been too scared to fully remove them. Empty food packets floated in the zero gravity of the pod, showing they had been here for at least a day. Slowly, carefully, Do-hyun removed his helmet. It was against first contact protocols, but these children needed to see a face, not a mask. His black hair floated slightly in the artificial gravity field's edge zone between the pod and the bay. "My name is Do-hyun," he said softly. "I'm a doctor on this ship. We're here to take care of you." The youngest child made a small keening sound. The translator rendered it as, "Please make it quick." The words hit Do-hyun like a physical blow. These children expected him to kill them. What had they been taught about humans? He knelt down, making himself smaller, less threatening. "No one is going to hurt you," he said. "You're safe here. We received your distress signal and came to help. That's what doctors do. We help people who are hurt or scared." The oldest child spoke, their voice trembling but brave. "Our lessons said humans are dangerous warriors, that you fight all the time." Do-hyun smiled gently. "Some humans are warriors, yes, but many of us are doctors, teachers, artists, and scientists. I'm a doctor. My job is to help anyone who needs help, no matter what species they are." He reached into his medical kit and pulled out 3 emergency thermal blankets. The pod's temperature was lower than ideal for Nilarian children. "Would you like a blanket? You must be cold." The middle child's skin flickered with a new color, a touch of curious green mixed with the fear blue. "Why are you being nice to us?" "Because you're children who need help," Do-hyun said simply. "And because being kind is more important than being feared." He held out the blankets, not moving closer, letting them decide. The oldest child's skin showed swirls of thinking purple. They whispered something to the others that the translator didn't catch. Slowly, hesitantly, the oldest child reached out and took one of the blankets. Their scaled fingers brushed against Do-hyun's hand for a moment. The child's skin flashed with surprise yellow, They hadn't expected the human to be warm. "I'm Ta Yang," the oldest child said. "These are my pod siblings, Ryan and Hainul. Our caretaker, my son." She didn't. Their skin darkened with sorrow gray. "I understand," Du-hyun said gently. "You don't have to talk about it right now. Let's focus on getting you somewhere more comfortable. We have a medical bay where you can rest, eat some proper food, and warm up. Would you like that?" The children looked at each other, their skin colors shifting in silent communication. Finally, little Hainul spoke up. "Will you stay with us?" "Of course," Du-hyun promised. "I'll stay with you as long as you need me to." He helped them wrap themselves in the thermal blankets. The material adjusted to their body temperature, providing the warmth they needed. As they got warmer, their skin colors began to show more variety. Still fearful, but now mixed with cautious green and curious purple. "Can you tell us about your ship?" Ryan asked as Du-hyun helped them out of the pod. "The writing on the side says Earth's Grace. What does that mean?" Do-hyun smiled at their curiosity. It was a good sign. Curious children were usually starting to feel safer. "Earth is the human homeworld," he explained, "and grace means kindness or mercy. This is a medical ship. We travel through space, helping anyone who needs medical care. Even aliens." Hainul asked, their skin showing bright interest green for a moment. "Especially aliens," Du-hyun said. "Every species is different, and that makes the universe more interesting. Part of my job is learning about different species so I can help them better." As they walked toward the medical bay, Du-hyun noticed the children's grip on each other loosening slightly. Their skin colors were shifting more frequently now, showing more curiosity and less fear. They asked questions about everything they saw. The ship's smooth walls, the gentle hum of the engines, the artificial gravity that felt different from their colony ship. In the medical bay, Yeonjae had already prepared 3 beds with soft blankets and pillows adjusted for Nilarian comfort. She had also set out food, proper Nilarian nutrition packs, not just emergency rations. "How did you know what food to give us?" Ta Yang asked, their skin showing surprise yellow. "We study the needs of different species," Du-hyun explained as he helped them settle into the beds. "This ship carries supplies for many different kinds of people. Everyone needs help sometimes, so we try to be ready to help anyone." As the children ate, their skin colors gradually shifted to calmer shades. The fear blue faded, replaced by tired purple and safe green. Little Hainul fell asleep first, their skin glowing with the soft patterns of Nilarian dreams. Ryan fought to keep their eyes open, but exhaustion was winning. "Will you really stay?" they asked Du-hyun again. "I'll be right here," he promised, pulling up a chair between their beds. "You're safe now. You can rest." Ta Yang was the last to give in to sleep, watching over their pod siblings until they couldn't keep their eyes open any longer. Just before falling asleep, they said something that made Du-hyun's heart swell with hope. "Maybe our lessons about humans were wrong," Ta Yang mumbled, their skin glowing with the warm gold of trust beginning to form. Do-hyun sat in his chair, watching over the sleeping children. Their skin pulsed gently with peaceful colors, soft greens and golds, with occasional swirls of dream purple. They were safe now, but their journey was just beginning. Tomorrow, they would face the challenge of contacting the Nilarian authorities, of dealing with the trauma they had experienced, of building trust between 2 species that had misunderstood each other for too long. But for now, in the quiet medical bay of Earth's Grace, 3 alien children slept peacefully under the watch of a human doctor who had shown them that mercy was stronger than fear. And that, Du-hyun thought, was a good beginning. The next morning cycle on Earth's Grace began with a soft chime from the medical bay's lighting system. Du-hyun, who had stayed in his chair all night, watched as the 3 Nilarian children slowly woke up. Their skin rippled with the confused colors of waking, swirls of sleepy purple and alert green mixing together. Little Hainul was the first to fully wake up, Their skin flashed with fear blue for a moment when they saw the unfamiliar room, but then they saw Do-hyun still sitting in his chair. Their colors changed to relief gold. "You stayed," Hae-nul said softly, "the whole time." "I promised I would," Do-hyun replied. He noticed that Hae-nul's universal translator needed adjusting and reached for his medical kit slowly, explaining each movement. "May I fix your translator? It will help us understand each other better." Hae-nul's skin showed nervous purple but also curious green. They nodded, and Do-hyun carefully adjusted the small device. While he worked, he heard Ryan and Tae-yang waking up too. "I'm hungry," Ryan announced, their skin showing the orange swirls that Do-hyun had learned meant healthy appetite in Nilarians. "We have breakfast ready," Do-hyun said. "But first, would you like to clean up? We have special washing rooms designed for Nilarian biology." The children's skin lit up with surprise yellow. Tae-yang spoke first. "You have rooms just for us." "This is a medical ship," Do-hyun explained as he helped them out of their beds. "We help people from many different species. Every species needs different things to be comfortable, so we try to have everything ready." He led them to the washing room. It was designed with Nilarian needs in mind. Gentle ultraviolet light that helped their scales stay healthy, and cleaning mist that wouldn't irritate their sensitive skin. The children's colors shifted to pleasure pink as they enjoyed their first proper cleaning since the attack. After they were clean and dressed in soft medical clothes sized for Nilarian children, Do-hyun took them to the ship's small dining area. He had asked the ship's food synthesizer to prepare traditional Nilarian breakfast foods. When the children saw the familiar dishes, their skin glowed with happy gold. "It tastes like home," Hae-nul said quietly, eating something that looked like blue crystals but smelled like sweet fruit. While they ate, Do-hyun knew he needed to talk about something important. "Children," he said gently, "I need to contact the Nilarian authorities today. They need to know you're safe. Would that be okay?" The children's skin showed worry gray. Tae-yang spoke for all of them. "Will they take us away?" "Not right away," Do-hyun assured them. "You'll stay here until you're fully recovered. But they need to know you're alive. There might be other family members looking for you." Ryan's skin darkened with sorrow gray. "Our birth parents died in the terraforming accident. My son was our only family." Their voice caught on my son's name, and their skin showed deep waves of grief black. Do-hyun waited patiently as the children processed their emotions. Their skin colors shifted through waves of sadness, showing their grief for my son and their lost home. He had learned that Nilarians needed to express their feelings through their bioluminescence. Holding back emotions could make them physically sick. "Would you like to talk about my son?" he asked softly. Sometimes sharing memories helps with sadness. The children looked at each other, their skin colors synchronizing in the way that showed deep emotional connection. Tae-yang started first. "My son taught us about the stars. She knew all their names. She let us stay up late sometimes to watch space phenomena." Ryan added, their skin showing bittersweet colors of happy memories mixed with loss. "She sang songs," Hae-nul said. "Special songs that made our colors feel better when we were scared." As they shared their memories, Do-hyun noticed something remarkable. Their skin colors were creating complex patterns he had only read about in medical texts. The Nilarian grieving patterns, usually only seen in close family groups. These children weren't just podmates, they were truly family to each other. "My son sounds like she was a wonderful caretaker," Do-hyun said. "She saved your lives by getting you to that escape pod. That was very brave of her." The children's skin showed agreement green mixed with sadness. They finished their breakfast quietly, processing their grief together. Do-hyun gave them time, knowing that rushing emotional healing could be harmful. Later that morning, Do-hyun took them on a tour of the safe parts of the ship. He wanted them to feel comfortable in their temporary home. The children's natural curiosity began to show through their sadness as they saw new things. In the observation deck, Ryan pressed their face against the window, watching the stars. Their skin showed wonder gold when Do-hyun explained how the ship's faster-than-light drive worked. Hae-nul was fascinated by the ship's garden, where plants from different worlds grew together. Tai-yang asked intelligent questions about the ship's medical equipment, showing the same care for others that they showed for their pod siblings. During the tour, they met other crew members. Each time, the children's skin would first show fear blue, but as each human treated them with kindness, their colors would shift to cautious green and then to curious purple. Yeonji, Do-hyun's medical assistant, taught them a simple earth game called rock, paper, scissors. The children were delighted to learn that humans had games too, and soon they were playing with their skin flashing happy pink. Dr. Do-hyun, Ryan asked during a quiet moment, "Why are all the humans on this ship so nice? Our lesson said humans only care about fighting and conquering." Do-hyun thought carefully about his answer. Humans can fight, yes, but we can also heal, teach, create, and help. Just like Nilarians, we have many different kinds of people. Some choose to be warriors, but others, like me, choose to be healers. Like how some Nilarians are teachers and some are space sailors. Hae-nul asked, their skin showing understanding green. Exactly, Do-hyun smiled. Every species has good people and bad people. The pirates who attacked your ship were bad people, but that doesn't mean everyone is bad. That afternoon, Do-hyun made the call to the Nilarian authorities. The children sat with him as he spoke to a Nilarian official. Their skin showed nervous purple throughout the call, but they stayed brave. The official was surprised to see the children safe on a human ship. When Do-hyun explained how they had been rescued, the official's skin showed disbelief orange followed by gratitude gold. "We had feared all were lost in the pirate attack," the official said. "To find these children alive and being cared for so well, perhaps we have misjudged humans." After the call, Do-hyun explained what would happen next. The children would stay on Earth's grace until they reached the nearest Nilarian station, where child welfare workers would help find them a new home. "Can we stay together?" Tai-yang asked, their skin showing worry gray. "We're family now." "I'll make sure to tell the Nilarian authorities how important that is," Do-hyun promised. "They should understand. Family bonds are very important in Nilarian culture." That evening, as the ship's day cycle wound down, Do-hyun sat with the children in the medical bay. They had asked him to tell them stories about Earth, and he shared tales about Earth's oceans, mountains, and the many different creatures that lived there. The children's skin showed amazement gold when he described whales, creatures as big as spaceships that sang to each other across vast distances. They showed curiosity purple when he talked about birds that flew through air instead of space. As the children grew sleepy, their skin colors softened to peaceful green. But before they fell asleep, Tai-yang said something that made Do-hyun realize just how much had changed in 2 days. "We were so scared when we saw your ship," Tai-yang said, their skin showing thoughtful purple. "We thought humans would hurt us. But instead, you showed us kindness. Maybe that's stronger than being scary." Do-hyun smiled as he tucked them in. Kindness is always stronger than fear. It just takes longer to see sometimes. As the children drifted off to sleep, their skin glowing with peaceful colors, Do-hyun thought about how much they had taught him too. These children had shown him that trust could grow even in the hardest circumstances, that family could be found in unexpected places, and that sometimes the greatest victories came not from fighting, but from choosing to be kind when others expected cruelty. The stars outside the medical bay window seemed to shine a little brighter that night, as if they too were watching over 3 alien children who had learned that mercy was not just a human word, but a universal truth that could bridge the gap between worlds. "She let us stay up late sometimes to watch space phenomena," Ryan added, their skin showing bittersweet colors of happy memories mixed with loss. "She sang songs," Hae-nul said, "special songs that made our colors feel better when we were scared." As they shared their memories, Do-hyun noticed something remarkable. Their skin colors were creating complex patterns he had only read about in medical texts, the Nilarian grieving patterns, usually only seen in close family groups. These children weren't just podmates, they were truly family to each other. My son sounds like she was a wonderful caretaker, Do-hyun said. She saved your lives by getting you to that escape pod. That was very brave of her. The children's skin showed agreement green mixed with sadness. They finished their breakfast quietly, processing their grief together. Do-hyun gave them time, knowing that rushing emotional healing could be harmful. Later that morning, Do-hyun took them on a tour of the safe parts of the ship. He wanted them to feel comfortable in their temporary home. The children's natural curiosity began to show through their sadness as they saw new things. In the observation deck, Ryan pressed their face against the window, watching the stars. Their skin showed wonder gold when Do-hyun explained how the ship's faster-than-light drive worked. Hae-Nul was fascinated by the ship's garden, where plants from different worlds grew together. Tae-yang asked intelligent questions about the ship's medical equipment, showing the same care for others that they showed for their pod siblings. During the tour, they met other crew members. Each time, the children's skin would first show fear blue, but as each human treated them with kindness, their colors would shift to cautious green and then to curious purple. Yeonji, Do-hyun's medical assistant, taught them a simple earth game called rock, paper, scissors. The children were delighted to learn that humans had games too, and soon they were playing with their skin flashing happy pink. Dr. Do-hyun, Ryan asked during a quiet moment, why are all the humans on this ship so nice? Our lessons said humans only care about fighting and conquering. Do-hyun thought carefully about his answer. Humans can fight, yes, but we can also heal, teach, create, and help. Just like Nilarians, we have many different kinds of people. Some choose to be warriors, but others, like me, choose to be healers. Like how some Nilarians are teachers and some are space sailors. Hae-Nul asked, their skin showing understanding green. Exactly, Do-hyun smiled. Every species has good people and bad people. The pirates who attacked your ship were bad people, but that doesn't mean everyone is bad. That afternoon, Do-hyun made the call to the Nilarian authorities. The children sat with him as he spoke to a Nilarian official. Their skin showed nervous purple throughout the call, but they stayed brave. The official was surprised to see the children safe on a human ship. When Do-hyun explained how they had been rescued, the official's skin showed disbelief orange followed by gratitude gold. We had feared all were lost in the pirate attack, the official said. To find these children alive and being cared for so well, perhaps we have misjudged humans. After the call, Do-hyun explained what would happen next. The children would stay on Earth's grace until they reached the nearest Nilarian station, where child welfare workers would help find them a new home. Can we stay together? Tae-yang asked, their skin showing worry gray. We're family now. I'll make sure to tell the Nilarian authorities how important that is, Do-hyun promised. They should understand. Family bonds are very important in Nilarian culture. That evening, as the ship's day cycle wound down, Do-hyun sat with the children in the medical bay. They had asked him to tell them stories about Earth, and he shared tales about Earth's oceans, mountains, and the many different creatures that lived there. The children's skin showed amazement gold when he described whales, creatures as big as spaceships that sang to each other across vast distances. They showed curiosity purple when he talked about birds that flew through air instead of space. As the children grew sleepy, their skin colors softened to peaceful green. But before they fell asleep, Tae-yang said something that made Do-hyun realize just how much had changed in 2 days. We were so scared when we saw your ship, Tae-yang said, their skin showing thoughtful purple. We thought humans would hurt us. But instead, you showed us kindness. Maybe that's stronger than being scary. Do-hyun smiled as he tucked them in. Kindness is always stronger than fear. It just takes longer to see sometimes. As the children drifted off to sleep, their skin glowing with peaceful colors. Do-hyun thought about how much they had taught him too. These children had shown him that trust could grow even in the hardest circumstances, that family could be found in unexpected places, and that sometimes the greatest victories came not from fighting, but from choosing to be kind when others expected cruelty. The stars outside the medical bay window seemed to shine a little brighter that night, as if they too were watching over 3 alien children who had learned that mercy was not just a human word, but a universal truth that could bridge the gap between worlds. 1 week had passed since the rescue. Earth's Grace was 3 days away from the Nilarian space station, where the children would meet their new caretakers. Do-hyun sat in the ship's medical office, finishing his daily report when the door chimed softly. "Come in," he called. The door slid open to reveal all 3 children, their skin glowing with purple purple. They had grown more confident moving around the ship on their own, though they always stayed together. "Dr. Do-hyun," Tai Yang said formally, "we want to ask you something important." Their skin showed serious blue, a color Do-hyun had learned meant they had thought carefully about something. "Of course," Do-hyun said, turning his chair to face them. "What's on your mind?" The children looked at each other, their skin synchronizing in the way that showed they had planned this together. Ryan spoke next. "We want to tell our story to other Nilarians, about how humans helped us, about how you were kind when we expected you to be cruel." Hamnul added, their skin showing determination gold. "Maybe if we tell our story, other Nilarians won't be so scared of humans anymore." Do-hyun felt proud of their wisdom. These children had experienced terrible loss, yet here they were, thinking about how to help others. "That's a wonderful idea," he said. "Would you like help recording your story?" The children's skin lit up with joy pink. They had hoped he would offer to help. Over the next few hours, they worked together in the medical bay, recording their experiences. Do-hyun helped them organize their thoughts, but he let them tell the story in their own words. Tai Yang described their fear when they first saw Earth's Grace approaching their pod. Ryan talked about their surprise when Do-hyun showed kindness instead of cruelty. Hae-nul shared how they learned that being strong didn't mean being scary. While they recorded, other crew members stopped by to add their own parts to the story. Yeonji spoke about teaching the children Earth games. The ship's cook described how he learned to make Nilarian food just right. Even the captain visited, explaining how the ship's mission was to help anyone in need, regardless of their species. As they worked, Do-hyun noticed something remarkable. The children's skin colors showed no fear blue when humans entered the room now. Instead, they showed welcome green and friendship gold. In just 1 week, they had overcome years of taught fear. "Dr. Do-hyun," Hae-nul asked during a break, "why did you take your helmet off when you first found us? Weren't you scared we might be dangerous?" Do-hyun smiled at the memory. "I knew you were children who were frightened. Sometimes the best way to show trust is to be a little vulnerable yourself. Like how my son used to show us her true colors when we were scared." Ryan asked, their skin showing understanding green mixed with gentle sadness at remembering their caretaker. "Exactly," Do-hyun said. "My son was very wise. She understood that showing trust helps build trust." Later that day, the children received a call from the Nilarian space station. The official they had spoken to before had good news. A family group of teachers had heard about the children and offered to take them in. Better yet, they would all stay together. "The teachers say they want to learn from you," the official explained, their skin showing respect gold. "Your experience with humans could help change how we teach our young ones about other species." The children's skin blazed with joy pink and hope green. They would have a new home, a new family, and a chance to make a difference. Do-hyun felt his own eyes grow wet as he watched their happiness. That evening, the children asked if they could eat dinner in the ship's garden. It had become their favorite place, full of plants from different worlds growing together peacefully. As they ate, they talked about their plans for the future. "I want to be a doctor like you," Tai Yang told Do-hyun, their skin showing dream purple. but a doctor who can help both Nilarians and humans. I want to teach about different species, Ryan said. Real things, not scary stories. Like how humans play games and grow gardens in space. I want to sing songs. Hey Newell added. Songs about being brave and kind, like my son taught us. And like you showed us. Do-hyun listened to their dreams, feeling honored to have played a part in changing how these children saw the universe. Those are wonderful dreams, he said. And you know what makes them special? They're dreams about bringing people together, not keeping them apart. The next few days passed quickly. The children spent time recording more of their story, playing with crew members, and preparing for their new home. They still had moments of sadness when they remembered my son and their lost colony ship, but their grief was gentler now, mixed with hope for the future. On their last night aboard Earth's Grace, the children asked Do-hyun to tell them one more story about Earth. He told them about an ancient Earth tradition called the olive branch, a symbol of peace and friendship. The story goes that after a great flood, a dove brought back an olive branch to show that new life was growing, he explained. Since then, offering an olive branch has meant wanting to make peace. Like how you offered us blankets and food when we were scared. Hey Newell asked, their skin showing connection purple as they made the link. Yes, Do-hyun smiled. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can be like olive branches between different peoples. The next morning, Earth's Grace docked at the Nilarian space station. The children's new family was waiting to meet them. They were a group of 5 adult Nilarians, their skin showing welcome gold and gentle green. Before leaving the ship, the children had one last thing to share with Do-hyun. Together, they had created a small hologram recording. In it, their skin demonstrated a new color pattern they had invented, a swirl of gold, green, and blue that meant human friend. We're going to teach it to other Nilarians, Tai Yang explained, so everyone will have a way to show that humans can be friends. Do-hyun felt deeply touched. In Nilarian culture, creating a new color pattern was a significant act. These children had created one just for humans, a bridge between their peoples. The time came to say goodbye. The children hugged Do-hyun, something they had learned humans did to show affection. Their skin glowed with love gold and sadness blue mixed together. Will you visit us? Hey Newell asked. Whenever Earth's Grace comes to this sector, Do-hyun promised. And you can send me messages. I want to hear about all the good things you do. As the children walked toward their new family, their skin glowing with a mix of excitement and gentle sorrow, Do-hyun watched them go. They had taught him as much as he had taught them, about bravery, about seeing past fear, about the power of mercy to change hearts. The children's stories spread quickly through both human and Nilarian space. Their recording was shared in schools, teaching young ones that friendship could bloom in unexpected places. The color pattern they created, human friend, became widely known among Nilarians. Years later, when other human ships visited Nilarian spaces, they were sometimes greeted by Nilarians whose skin glowed with that special pattern of gold, green, and blue. It was a reminder that 3 children and a doctor had shown both species a profound truth. That mercy was not a sign of weakness, but the greatest strength of all. And on Earth's Grace, Do-hyun kept a small hologram on his desk. It showed 3 Nilarian children, their skin glowing with the colors of trust and friendship, teaching the universe that sometimes the bravest thing anyone could do was to choose kindness when others expected cruelty.